Alright, good day, class. So let's discuss exact and non-exact differential equations. So we already discussed variable, separable, and homogeneous. So akong giingon last meeting was kung mag-solve ka differential equation, inyong unang question to yourself is this variable separable? Kaya mo na ang simplest and easiest way to solve your differential equation. Pero kung dili siya variable separable, then tanawan mo kung homogeneous siya because you can manipulate your differential equation to make it variable separable if homogeneous siya. Now, what if dili nimo siya ma-separate yung variable and then what if dili siya homogeneous? So another way to solve your differential equation is to know if exact ba siya nga differential equation because we have a way to solve an exact differential equation. Now, disclaimer lang class, na ay dili pa sabot nga exact siya, na dili na siya variable separable or exact siya, na dili na siya homogeneous. Because there are differential equations na variable separable at the same time exact. Na asay homogeneous at the same time exact siya. Okay? So meaning if you encounter those kind of differential equations, you can solve the solution of that differential equation through the process sa exact, no? Pag-test niya sa exactness and then follow the process how to solve an exact differential equation. And pwede sa mo siya i-solve through variable separable. Or if homogeneous siya and at the same time exact, then you can use either of the process that we have learned no so far. So you will get the same solution. Pero what if dili siya variable separable and dili po siya homogeneous? So this is the time na strictly gyud ang i-follow nimo is the process of solving an exact differential equation. But first, how do we know if your differential equation is exact? So, we already established no nga mo ni atong form sa atong differential equation. mdx plus ndy is equal to 0. So, a differential equation na class is said to be exact if the partial derivative of m gani siya with respect to y ana is the same with the partial derivative of n with respect to x. Okay? And take note, class, dili gini siya pwede mabalik. That's why I emphasized during the class that we have to be consistent in the form of our differential equation. Nga kaning m, it is the function multiplied sa imong dx. And your n is the function multiplied sa imong dy. Because if you test the exactness of your differential equation, it's very strictly nga na yun. The partial derivative of m with respect to y, gini mo kaon class. Okay? So, tanaw na ninyo, if m with respect to y, balihon nimo kay dx man siya, or kung unsa inyong pamaagi to remember it easily, then do so. Pero what I do is, kung dx siya, ang function nimo imong tan-awon ang partial derivative with respect to y katong iyahang opposite nga variable. Okay? And nga namang partial derivative kanang dili man pud siya derivative lang. It's because kani siya is a function of both x and y. Diba? It could contain x and y variables. So ato lang siyang gi-generalize nga gakuha tag partial derivative with respect to y because isa ra man ka variable ang atong gikuhaan o with respect to one variable naman class. Okay? So that's why the partial derivative of m with respect to y should be equal to the partial derivative of n with respect to x. Kung equal na siya class, then this differential equation is an exact differential equation. Okay, now, kung equal na siya class, this is our test for exactness ha. Kung equal na siya, then to solve for the solution of your exact differential equation, we use this. Bali na po siya class, ang m na po din mo karon, okay, i-partner na po na mo siya sa dx because we are going to get the f here. Okay, so the partial derivative of f daw with respect to x is equal to your m, and the partial derivative of f with respect to y is equal to n. We anti-differentiate this two, and we get the expression of our f, no? Later magsalta na. Okay, so let's begin with an example para mas mag-gets ninyo class. Okay, so we have here 2xy dx plus quantity 1 plus x squared dy is equal to 0. So, atong notation na this is our m and this is our n. Now, how do we test the exactness? By the way, class, if you look at this differential equation, makaingon jud ka nga diretso nga, variable separable na. Because this is purely function of x, and this is a product of x and y nga function. So it's very easy to separate the variables. Okay? So, i-check na lang ninyo later if you use variable separable nga method, pareha na ba tumuko nga solution? And dapat yun pareha sa tumuko nga solution. Okay? Because either way, dapat isa raman yung solution sa atong differential equation. Okay, so again, ato ta sa exactness class. We test for exactness. So, again, we begin with the test for exactness. Okay, so the partial derivative of m with respect to y must be equal na muna to, must be equal to your partial derivative of n with respect to x. Okay, so we begin with the partial derivative of m with respect to y class. That is, ang m na to is 2xy. Okay, unsa gibuhaton na to class if we partially differentiate a certain function with respect to a certain variable, the other variables existing in that function will be considered as constant. So meaning class, ang x na to, kaning x na to is a constant. Okay, we consider x as a constant. Meaning, if we differentiate 2xy with respect to y, and x is a constant, then mura lang ang x class, mura lang na siya number. Kumbaga, so mura lang na siya 2. So that means if we differentiate 2xy, partially differentiate 2xy with respect to y, the answer would be 2x. Okay, now, we partially differentiate n with respect to x. That would be, ang n na to is 1 plus x squared. Now, in this case, we don't have a y variable. Okay? Pero if naam ganito yung y variable class, then constant na magyapon siya. So, it doesn't matter. Okay? So, 1 plus x squared with respect to x man, no? So, that would be 0. 1, imuhang constant nga 1, we differentiate that would be 0. Ang x squared yung mahimong 2x. So, equal gyapon siya sa 2x. So, that means, ato ang partial derivative of m with respect to y and partial derivative of n with respect to x is equal. Okay? So, we can conclude that that is exact. Okay, so take note lang class, if you get a negative value, for example, nakakuha 2x sa first and then negative 2x sa second, so dili na siya equal. If you have same figure, pero ang isa negative, ang isa positive, dili ka kaingon equal na. Kaya maura ba na yung usahay, kasayo pa sa estudyante mo, adto na din sila sa process sa pag-solve sa exact. Okay? So, dili na siya mao. Dapat exact yun siya. Appeal ang sign. I mean, equal yun siya, appeal ang sign. Okay, so, when we know nga exact na siya, then let's solve for f. Solve for f. Okay, how do we solve for f? Ang isa class is the partial derivative of f with respect to x is equal to m. Yeah, na din sa PCAS, partial derivative of f with respect to y is equal to n. Okay, so anong kaon na to ni class? It's because ang anong kaon na to ang duwa, anong dili nga isa na lang. It's because ang f ni mo di ay is both a function of x and y. So kaon sa nato ang f niya with respect to your m, and then kuon sa nato ang f pud niya with respect sa imong y, no, anti-differentiate nato siya, and then i-combine nato para makuha gyud nato ang full niya nga expression. Okay, so sige, so we have unahon sa nato ning m class. Okay, so that is 2xy. Okay, this will become ibulag na to siya class. Now, ayaw lang mo kabalaka nga naa kay y dira. Ano man. Kaya ang imong y is a constant. Okay? So, emphasize lang ako, this is a partial derivative of f with respect to x. So, whatever ang other variables nga exist sa imong m class, we will consider that as a constant. Okay? So, dili na tanid nga hala, dili lagi siya ma-separate or ibutang baka na to ang y sa PCAS, dili. Okay? Because y here is a constant, so it doesn't matter. So, if we anti-differentiate that, okay, we will get an f here sa left side. And that one happens to 2xy diri. Okay, partial man ni siya nga derivative. So, ang 2y ni mo class, because that is a constant, considered a constant, pwede natin ipagawas. Okay? And what happens to x? Mahimo siyang x squared over 2. Okay? Plus, now, kini ang medyo critical. Instead of mag-plus theta class, ang plus c na to, pwede na to siya i-plus sa kanang final na nato nga expression sa f. Pero here, nagito always plus constant, di ba? Pero atong i-constant diri is not a constant number, but rather a function of y. Nga naman. Because in this case, we are partially differentiating mano with respect to x, meaning kung ato siyang i-anti-differentiate, dapat naada ga-exist diha nga function of y. Di ba? So kung ato siyang ibalik class para mas makita ninyo ang emphasis nga nung naani siya. Di ba kung ato ni siyang i-differentiate, ang f nimo mahimong di ba? Partially. Okay? And then ang 2y nimo, ang 2y nimo kay mahimo ra man as isa man nga 2y. X squared over 2 will become x. Okay? And then h of y, because this is a constant, this will become 0. Mura ra ni siya og kanang gi-plus c na to class. Okay? So I hope na understand niyo ano natay function of y dire. Okay? So, ako sabak kay matang. Okay, so again, natay extra function of y dra because if we differentiate, ibalik na nato, mahimo ng 0. Sige, let's have f here. So this will become x squared y na no. Itong simplify plus some function of y. Okay, so ato sa next class, later na this will become derivative of f, no? Ako na ibulag diretso class ha. This will become 1 plus x squared. Yeah, derivative of y. Okay, so, sige, anti-differentiate, that is f is equal to, ang 1 plus x squared nimo will become, kaning 1 nimo class, since that is, sige, anin na lang. This will become a constant, di ba? Ato na lang i-distribute ha para dili mo malibog. Okay? Now, we are partially differentiating f with respect to y, di ba? Kana siya. The partial derivative of f with respect to y is equal to n. Meaning, ang x na to class is now a constant. Okay? Constant na siya. So, if we anti-differentiate a constant, di ba parisan lang nato siya o katong variable nimo. Okay? So, what happens here with 1? Kining 1 nimo dire. Okay? That will become y. Okay? Plus, kani imong x squared is considered man as a constant. So, parisan ra pud mo siya og y. So, that is x squared y. Okay? Now, since this is a partial derivative with respect to y, if we anti-differentiate this one class, naatay extra nga constant which is in the form of a function of x. Okay? Kay constant man ang x in this case. So, pag differentiate na to karon aning g of x, mahimo na ni siyang 0 dire. Okay, so now we have an expression of f. Okay, kani, duha. Ato na siyang i-equate class because dili pa man ni mao tong final answer. I-equate nato siya para makabaluta unsa day value ani h of y ug unsa pud ning g of x. Okay, kay equal naman na sila. So, we equate f. Okay, we equate f. Okay, karon tan-aw na to class. Unsa to mga cancel? Of course, dapat na kay makuha diha class nga same nga mga terms, no? So in this case, ang same term na to is kani. Okay? So ato na i-cancel. Now, tanaw na to sa side. Tanaw na to class sa unsa nga side ang sa left side we have h of y. Okay, we have h of y here. Pangita na to sa right side class, unsa nga term ang purely function of y. Okay? Tanawa. sa right side na kay y and na kay g of x. So meaning class, ang h of y din nimo is equivalent to y. Okay? Pangitaon lang nimo basically ang unsa ang nasa right side nga purely function of y. Mao na ang imong h of y. So we have h of y here nga equal to y. Okay? And then, ang g of x nimo class nga nasa imuhang right side, pangitaon po nimong equivalent niya nga functions purely function of x nga nasa left. Karon wala man tayo purely function of x dira no nga nasa left side. So that means we can deduce nga ang ato ang g of x there is equal to 0 lang. Okay? And then if you get now the expression of your h of y and g of x, pwede na din class mag-substitute ka either of the two. Okay? Because again, kaning duha class, mo ni siya ang, equal naman ni sila class. Okay? Ato lang ipangita ang general niya nga solution or value sa imong h of y and g of x. So in this case, pwede ra bisan asa ka mo substitute. Pwede ka mo substitute diri sa imong h of y diri. Pwede sad kaning g of x nimo i-substitute nimo dira and you will get the same expression. Okay? So kung zero na class niya kana kay y, so that means our general solution is diri na din ta mag plus sa ato ang katong c gid na to class nga constant number. Okay, so our general solution class is kapihon na nimo ang expression sa f tas equate na to 0. So we have x squared y plus, kung kaniya itong gamitin class, h of y, then that is plus y plus c. Okay, mo na kung iingon nga mag-plus c na tayo dito na sa pinakakinalasan. Okay, equals 0. Okay, this is now your general solution. Okay, so at first, medyo complicated pa siya class dahil kay hinumduman, pero the more you solve, the more na ma-embed si mong man ang process. Okay, so let's have the second example para mas makita ninyo. Okay, kani siya atong first example class. As I've mentioned, this is variable separable. So naatay way to solve this through separating the variable. Pero what if we have this example? Okay, so we have 3x squared y minus 6x dx plus x cubed plus 2y dy. Now, pag tanaw pa lang nimo class, oy, dili variable separable, okay? Dili na nimo ma-extract ang imong mga x ug y dira, okay? Next step is homogeneous ba siya? Tanaw na to class. Ang degree ani is 3. Ang degree ani is 1. So kani palang daan, dili na siya homogeneous. Dili siya same degree. Kana palang na term daan, so uh, wala na use kung mutanaw taon sa degree ani. Okay? So, ato ta sa tong next. Is this an exact differential equation? Dili na din nato i-test class. So we have, this is your M, this is your N. So we test for exactness gihapon class. Test for exactness, that is partial derivative of M with respect to Y must be equal to the partial derivative of N with respect to X. Okay, so let's start with M. That is the partial derivative of M with respect to Y. So atong M class is 3x squared y minus 6x. Okay? So kani palandaan nga kuan na kung dili na mo kung makalimot na mo mag-partial differentiate, then marong na gid mo ani. Okay? So if you are partially differentiating with respect to y, take note again, atong x is considered a constant. So constant na siya. Okay? So what happens with 3x squared y, mahimo na lang siyang 3x squared. 3x squared. Yan naman. Okay? Constant man ang imong x squared. If constant imong x, then your x squared will also be constant. So, pareha na i-treat nimo ang x class pareha sa 3. Okay? So, meaning, mahimura na siyang 3x squared. Okay? Y raman na imong variable dra. Unya, what happens to 6x? Tungod ang 6 nimo constant niya, ang x nimo kay treated as constant, meaning 6x will be treated as constant. Meaning, if you differentiate a constant, that will become 0. Okay, so mahimo rin na siyang 3x squared. Okay, let's go to the partial derivative of n with respect to x. So our n class is the 3x cubed plus 2y. Okay, we are partially differentiating with respect to x. So dapat ang atong y is a constant. Okay? X cubed, mahimo na siyang 3x squared. Now what happens to 2y? Since that is a constant, no? As a whole term constant ang atong treatment sa iya. So if you differentiate the constant, that is 0. So 3x squared gihapon. So they are equal, therefore we can conclude nga this is an exact ODE. So kung exact siya, follow to sa process. Katong solve for f. Okay, we solve for f. Start with the partial derivative of f with respect to x. Karon class bali na po siya, no? Ang m nimo ay partner na po nimo sa x. Ganina pag test na to sa exactness, di ba ang m kay partner sa y? Okay? So mao gid ninyo kailangan hinumduman. All right, so let's have yeah, let's rewrite our function. We have 3x squared y minus 6x. Yeah, nakay derivative of x yan. Partial man na siya, no? So we anti-differentiate. Again, x ang ato ang variable diri. So meaning, we treat y as a constant. Okay? So, ayun lang mo kalibog class. Kung y, i-partner lang nimo siya sa whatever constant dira, itapad lang nimo siya sa 3. Sige, so we have here an f equals, pwede na ito ipagawas ang 3y class kung nali, para dili ta malibog no 3y because the first term, ang constant sa first term will be 3y. Okay? What happens to x squared? Mahimo ng x cubed over 3. Pag anti-differentiate. Okay. What happens to 6x? Ipagawas itong 6 na ang x mahimong x squared over 2. Yeah, don't forget, mag-plus ta og constant. Yeah, mag-plus og constant which is a function of y. Some function of y. Okay, so simplify. Mahimo na yung x cubed y. Tama, cancel ang 3. And then minus, mahimo na yung 3x squared. Okay? And then some function of y. Okay, so ato to diri sa kilid class. Siguro sa kanang gamay doon. Okay. Ato na punta sa n. Solve partial derivative of f with respect to y na po, no? With respect, is equal to n. So, rewrite lang na itong n class x cubed plus 2y dy. Okay, partial. Now, kung dy na class, that means atong x cubed is a constant. So, kung constant ni, what will happen? Parisan rin mo atong variable. So, that is f is equal to x cubed. Mahimong y. Plus 2, pagawas ni mong 2. Ang y, mahimo na siyang y squared over 2. Okay. Plus some function of x. Okay. So that means we have f is equal to x cubed y plus, simplify na ito class, may mo ng y squared plus g of x. Tapos, the next step will be, we equate f para makita na to unsa gyud ang expression sa imong h of y o g of x. Okay, we have x cubed y minus 3x squared plus h of y is equal to x cubed y plus y squared plus g of x. Of course, dapat nagyud kay common nga term diya class. So, x cubed y, muna itong makancel. So, tanaw nimo sa left side class, h of y. Okay, sa right side, ang purely function of y dira is the y squared. So, it must be, mo na siya ang imuhang h of y. So, h of y must be y squared. Okay? And g of x nga sa mong right side, unsa equivalent niya nga functions of x nga naa sa mong left side. So makita nato that is negative 3x squared. Okay, so negative 3x squared. Okay, kung ma-define na nato class, then it's so easy to write the general solution. So either of the two, Okay, either of the two. So that is, okay, general solution will be x cubed y minus 3x squared plus h of y, which is na-define na to as y squared, plus c. Okay, ay yun mo kalimutan sa c, equals 0. Equals 0. Okay, so this is now our general solution. Nga, implicit. Actually, equal to 0, ginani mo class diretso. So this is our general solution. Sorry. Okay. I think napabatay last example. Okay, let's have a last example for exact. So we have y cosine x plus 2x e to the y dx plus sine x plus x squared e to the y minus 1 dy is equal to 0. So medyo taas-taas gini siya class. Klaro na kayo ni class natin ni variable separable. Di na mo ma-extract ang mga x o y ra kayo nag-partner o kinipalandaan. Ay be? Oh yeah, dili nimo ma-extract. From here pa lang. No? Homogeneous ba ni? We are dealing with transcendental function. So, i-test nimo if katong R, no? Rn function of x, y. Okay? So, pwede na nimo i-test. Tama na itong homogeneous ba siya? Pero if nalibog yung ka din, pwede ka mag-test for exactness diretso para if exact, then you can solve for the solution of the differential equation. Okay, since kabalo naman ta nga example ni sa exact, no? So, exact yun siguro na siya. But let's test first for the exactness. Yes, muna itong M, muna itong N. So, we test for exactness. Copy na ako, class. Copy na ako niya. Okay, test for exactness. So, that is partial derivative of M with respect to Y, no? Diretso na nato, class. M na to is Y cosine X plus 2x e to the y. Okay. So, alam mo ka, intimidate because ang isa ka variable na is considered constant. So, what happens with cosine x here? Mahimo na yung constant, considered constant. 2x is also considered as constant. So, kung constant na siya, the first term will be mahimo ra ng cosine x if you differentiate with respect to y. Okay? What happens to 2x e to the y? Ang 2x, i-copy nimo kay constant man na. Ang e to the y, differentiate nimo, e to the y lang gihapon. Okay, for partial derivative of n with respect to x na punta, that will be partial derivative of sine x plus x squared e to the y minus 1. Okay. So, karon x man na, so y will be considered as constant. Okay. Sine x, differentiate sine x, that is cosine x. Okay. And then what happens to x squared? We are differentiating with respect man to x. So x squared will become 2x. Unya, ang imuhang e to the y is a constant. So copy ho na to class. E to the y. Minus 1. Minus 1. So mahimong minus 0. Okay, constant. So mahimo na ng 0. So, kita na to class nga, i-resolve na ko ng 0 dira. They are equal. So, conclusion na to is exact. Okay, kung exact gani siya ang buhaton, let me move this first. Kung exact siya, mag-solve ta og F. Okay. Solve for F. Kaya murag taas-taas ni siya class. Solve for F. That is y na pod. Say yx equal to m. Okay, so separate. We have m y cosine x plus 2x e to the y dx. Okay. Anti-differentiate. Y na pod karon class ang mahimo nimong constant value. So ay lang mo kalibog basta kung constant ipagawas. Kani constant kani constant. Okay? So, y will become, ito sa isulat rin ang f. Okay? Equals y, pagawas na to ay constant. Cosine x, the anti-differentiation of cosine x will be sine x. Okay? Plus, ipagawas na to, unsay constant ani nga term? Ang 2 o ang e to the y. So, pagawas na natong 2 o e to the y. What happens to x? That will become x squared over 2. Okay? Plus, some function of y. So, f na to class will be y sine x plus, simplify na to class, it will become some function y. Okay. So, let's solve for f no in terms of n. So, the partial derivative of f with respect to y is equal to n. Okay, bulagon. N na to here is sine x plus x squared e to the y minus 1 dy. Okay, anti-differentiate. This will become f here. Unya, partial derivative man ni class with respect to y, ang x na pud karon ang constant. So meaning sin x is a constant. Unsay buhaton nato ba sa constant? Ipagawas. Okay, pagawas na to ang sin x. Unya, parisa na nato siya isa ka y. Okay? Okay, constant man na. Plus, okay, ang x squared na to class is constant. So pagawas siya po ng constant. If we anti-differentiate e to the y, e to the y lagi hapon, e to the y. Okay? Minus 1. Unya, ang 1 mo class is a constant. So ipagawas ra ng 1, butangan lang din mo siya og y. Okay? I hope naka-follow. Plus, some function of x. Okay, basta baligin na imong function ni class. Kaya ba mga bali-bali, some function of y ang mabutang. Sige, simplify. We have, ato lang ning ibalhin ang y diri pa dito malibog y sin x plus x squared e to the y minus y plus g of x. Okay, so this is now our f. Equate na din nato class. Para, sa purpose pag-equate, para ma-define nato unsa ang function of h of y o g of x. Okay, we have y sin x plus x squared e to the y plus h of y equals y sin x plus x squared e to the y minus y plus g of x. Okay, cancel no? Same term, cancel na siya. X squared ey, cancel pod. So that means, unsa man yung nakita? Ang h of y na to class, unsay function of y nga nasa right side, that is the negative of y. Okay? G of x, unsay nakita nato sa left side, wala tay function of x sa left side, no? So this will be 0. Okay, so dili lang kay butang ang solution. The general solution would be, okay, again, either of the two, you have y sin x plus x squared e to the y plus a function of y. Negative y man din ano, so negative y na to diretso. Plus katong c. Okay, equals 0. So this is now our general solution. Okay. So, that is for the exact na tulo itong example. For the non-exact class, medyo lengthy magod siya. Kung ibuhat is, isa ra ka example. And then, na ako isa ka number pag yung gibutang sa last. Then, giansira na ako diretso. So, kamo na lang. I leave it to you. Okay, I leave it to you para mag-solve. Because, ang non-exact magod class is kani. From the word non-exact, kaya siya exact. Okay? Kung i-test na to karon class ang exactness, dili equal ang imuhang derivative, partial derivative of m with respect to y, dito sa imong partial derivative of n with respect to x. So, unsay mong buhaton? Mura na siya homogeneous class para i-manipulate nato para mahimong variable separable. Ang non-exact, i-manipulate nato para mahimo siyang exact. So, how do we do that? Again, kung dili exact, dili equal na, atong buhaton is we introduce an integrating factor. Unsa man ang integrating factor? that's the factor or that's the expression we have to multiply to our non-exact differential equation so that it will become an exact differential equation. So that ma-follow na to ang process sa katong pag-solve og F. Because dili ta pwede mag-diretsyo solve og F. Kung non-exact siya, you will not get the same expression of F diha class. For sure. Okay? So, unsa man ning integrating factor? Okay. Medyo complicated gamay class because tan-aw na to if we get this expression which is 1 over n multiplied by the difference aning duha, okay, kana siya minus kana. If we get a purely function of x, purely function of x ha, kung naa kay y dra dili na na-equal, okay? So if you get a purely function of x, ato the integrating factor is like this. E raised to the integral of f of x dx. Okay? Kung dili gani siya equal, meaning class, for example, if you manipulate this, if you solve that one, you will get something like x squared y. Okay? And this is not a function of x. Nga naman, that is a function of x and y. Okay? Kanang x squared y. So meaning, adto ta sa second. Okay? Second, kung dili gani na masatisfy nimo, okay, balik ka. Kung dili ni masatisfy nga condition nga function of x, sige na, magkana satisfy. Okay? So, 1 over n multiply different aning so if an expression or function of y functions, then you're integrating factor e negative integral of f of y dy. Sige, para mas masabtan na to, let's have an example. Okay. Suppose we have here a function m, and so this is variable separable naman ni class. Pero, if you solve this in variable separable, tanaw na to kung pwede po mo class using variable separable if you will get the same answer and kung shorter ba nga to ang solution. Pero anyway, since we are dealing with non-exact, ato na siyang i-solve in that way. Okay? So first is, wala pa man takawalo kung non-exact man. We test for exactness, of course. Let's start with testing the exactness. Okay, so we have partial derivative of m with respect to y, no? And that is equal to m na to is y minus xy. Okay, kung partially differentiating with respect to y, x is a constant. So, this will become 1. Yang xy mahimong minus x. Okay, kay constant na itong x. So, partial derivative of n with respect to x class, that is x, no? Okay. So, x, yung x ihapon, that will become 1. So, they are not equal. So, that means not exact na siya. Or non-exact differential equations. Kung hindi siya exact, what are we going to do class? We test for. I-test na to ang atong integrating factor kung asa ba kaha ang mo satisfy ani. Okay? So, para makita ninyo ang difference sa duha class, atong i-test gid at duha. Okay? Pero kung mag-solve na mo pohon, kung unsa ang una ninyo gi-solve niya na satisfy diretso, ayan among adto sa next. Okay? Pag na-satisfy na diretso na mo consider nga mo na imong integrating factor. Okay, para dili taas yung solution. Pero in this case, ato lang tanawon para makita gid ninyo class unsa akong pasabot sa purely function of x and purely function of y. Okay? So we test for the integrating factor kaning duha, no? Okay? So ang first is ang 1 over n, ako lang i-rewrite. Okay? Multiplied by the difference aning duha, partial derivative of n with m with respect to y minus partial derivative of n with respect to x. Okay? It should be a function of x. Okay? So, ang n na to class is x. Okay? Dayon, ang 1, okay. Ang kini na tong expression is this one given by this. Okay? So, that is 1 minus x. Minus, kani is kani. Kani is kani. So, 1 minus 1. Atong pangunta na class, so, hindi pa mo tayo sure, let's ask or let's test kung equal ba gid siya a function of x. Okay? So, Unsay mahitabo ani? 1 minus 1, 0. So, you will have negative x sa sulod. Cancel kag x dira class. You will get an expression of negative 1. The question now is this a function of x? The answer is yes. Maskin wala kayo nakita diha nga x variable class, it is still a function of x because a constant is a function, mo na nakanindot sa constant. We can consider that as a function of x or a function of y. Okay, kaya pwede mo na to siya ma-rewrite as x to the 0. Okay, so a constant class, very safe nga function. So that means kini siya is indeed a function of x. So we use, later na lang na no, ato sa tanawon class, ang katong isa ka expression kung na-satisfy ba siya. 1 over m multiplied by katong difference sa duha, no? Okay. Should be a function of y. Okay. So 1 over m will be 1 over, sabi ba tiya? 1 over y minus xy. Yan ni 1 minus x minus 1. Okay? Testing na to if it is a function of y. Okay, so unsa may tabo ang kining sulod mahimo man ni x, no? So that means this will become x, negative x, okay? All over 1 y minus x y. Now the question is this a function of y? Purely function of y, the answer is no. Ngano man naa kay x dira, oh. So wala nimo na satisfy ang condition. Therefore, ang ato ang gamiton class is kani. Okay, unsa gay condition kung kani daw ang ma-satisfy, we use integrating factor. Nga we use integrating factor nato nga e to the ang integrating factor nato will be e equal na lang e raised to the integral of f of x dx. Okay? Now, take note ha, partial, ikuha na siya, dili na siya partial class. Actually, easy lang kayo. Maski na sayop mo. Dili na siya partial because it is a purely function of x na siya. Sige, so, ang sa atong f of x karon. So, atong nakuha ang expression dili, it's very useful. Okay? Muna na itong i-input sa imong integrating factor. So, we have equal e raised to the integral of f of x ito is negative 1. Okay? Negative 1 dx. Okay, so what will happen here? You will get e to the negative 1 class that will become negative x. Okay, parisa na nimo ang imuhang constant. So, x. Okay, mo niya itong integrating factor. So, karon sa kitong giingon, ang integrating factor is the expression that we multiply sa ato ang original nga differential equation, non-exact differential equation, for it to become an exact differential equation. So, karon atong i-multiply class. We multiply the integrating factor to our expression. So, integrating factor, ato lang i-reiterate, we have e to the negative x. Ato lang siyang i-multiply class sa imuhang y minus xy dx plus x dy is equal to 0. Mama na to ang original differential equation. No? So what will happen? It will become, ato na i-distribute diretso class. If we distribute that, that will become y e to the negative x, okay, minus xy e to the negative x. So each term will have e to the negative x plus x e to the negative x dy equals to 0. So kanina din atong new nga differential equation, what will happen class is we're actually not changing the value or the expression, diba? Because we multiply the same factor to each term. So wala tayo gi-change sa differential equation. Ato lang siyang gi-manipulate. no? The value, murag ang intrinsic value sa imong differential equation didn't change at all. Murag na gud na gi-times 2 na to tanang term or gi-times 3 na to tanang term. In this case, gi-times na to tanang term with e to the negative x. Okay, so this is na ako ning kapyon class. So atong i-check class if pag multiply na to sa integrating factor, nahimo ba yung exact ni nga equation. So karon atong new na nga m class is unsa naman atong new nga m? Kini natong bag-o nga m. Kanina and this is our new n. Okay? So we test for exactness sa atong bag-o nga expression, no. Dili siya technically bag-o. Ato lang siyang gisaninaan og bag-o class pamrayna. So we test for the exactness. Test for exactness. Okay, partial derivative of m with respect to y. That is y e to the negative x minus x y e to the negative x. Okay, so ganito, x will become constant, considered as constant. So what will happen here is, mahimura ning e to the negative x, yang isa minus x e to the negative x. Okay? The second one, partial derivative of n with respect to x, that will become x e to the negative x. Okay, unsa may tabuan ni? Since you are integrating partially with respect to x and tanang terms mo diha kay in terms of x, this is considered as one function, no, product of two functions. So we can use product rule for this. Okay, so copy the first function, x, differentiate e to the negative x, that will become e to the negative x multiplied by negative 1. Kinapamangkay, i-chain rule manini mo, no, kay naman kay negative na sa taas. Okay? Plus, okay? Plus, copy na po nimo e to the negative x, i-differentiate na po nimo karon ng x, that will become 1. Okay? So, if we rearrange that one, that is e to the negative x minus kani siya akong gipauna dire. And then this will become minus x e to the negative x. Okay? So, unsa nahitabo class? They have now the same expression. So, that means, mauna ni siya ang, kanina siya class, ato ang exact. Exact. Okay. So, karon syempre, atong gamito na nga m ug n is, kato ng bag-o. Okay? We solve now for f. Solve for f. Okay? So, we have partial derivative of f with respect to x is equal to m. Okay, so ang m na to class is y e to the negative x minus xy e to the negative x dx. Okay? Anti-differentiate. Kung x na, ang y na to is, ang y na to will become constant. So, kasi buhato na to, kung constant, ato lang na siyang ipagawas. Pagawas ang y. Okay? Ang imuhang e to the negative x, anti-differentiate, same lang gihapon no, pero naa kay negative 1 diya class over negative 1. Sa negative gani exponent mo, e gani class, nagi na always negative 1. Either nag-differentiate ka or nag-integrate. Okay? Basta malintan mo. Minus, ipagawas na tong y class no. Unya, kaniya, medyo complicated. Okay? Integrate x e to the negative x dx. Nya di man na ito diretso ma-integrate class. We integrate that by parts. So I hope maka-remember mo sa integration by parts. Pero sige, i-review na to karon. Okay. Integration by parts. Duha man ano ganing gi by parts nito because we are anti-differentiating two functions of x. Dili na siya diretsyo ni mo ma-integrate. So, ato sa ibay parts class. Atong buhaton is, we let you ang isa nimo ka function and then the rest is dv. Okay, so unsa may pinaka-easy ani nga kuan. Tan-aw nimo class for integration by parts. Unsa technique nga gitudlo ninyo, gitudlo sa inyo ha ani before? For me, pangitaon nimo class ang function that is easily differentiated. Mao to ang imuhang i-let you. Or tan-aw nimo unsa nga function ang ma-complicate ba? Kumbaga, unsa nga function sa duha x ug e to the negative x nga if imo siyang i-integrate ma-complicate siya. In this case, ang x, di ba? Mahimo siyang x squared over 2. Mo dako ang iyahang exponent. So we don't want that. Okay? So another way to look at it is unsa nga function ang pag ma-differentiate nimo is mawala siya ba or ma-simplify siya. Of course ang x gihapon. Okay? Pero for me, ang pinakanindot yung approach is, unsa nga function, sorry klase, balik-balik ko, unsa nga function sa duha, x ug e to the negative x, nga complicated siya, i-integrate ang x. Okay? So, muuto imong i-let u. Para dili ma-complicate karon nga naman makabalo ng mga ano. U, ako nang i-let x. Okay? And then, ang dv mo na akong the rest, do. Kani siya akong tungaon, ang isa u, ang isa dv. Ana man na. Okay, may mo na UDV class. Bantog i-rewrite na to karon class nga anong i-rewrite karon nganong importante na because ang imuhang integration by parts class will become, sorry class agabak-ambak ko. Ako na lang ning tiwason. Okay? So ang u nimo is kani, ang dv nimo is the rest. Okay? The rest nga nabili nimo. Okay? So it will become e to the negative x dx. Okay? So what will happen to x if yung ng du ni mo na class, this will become dx. So integration by parts na review. dv, pangitawon sa nato ang v niya. So if we anti-differentiate e to the negative x dx, easy ra kay siya class. May mura na siyang e to the negative x, yan na lang kay negative dra. Okay? Ngano nga naman because the integration by parts will be ani kani siya ang whole expression nimo, di ba? That is ako na lang i-green ha, that is di ba kana siyang expression ato siyang gihimong u dv. Okay? Kani siya u og dv. If we integrate that by parts, that is equivalent to uv minus v du. Okay? So remember ko ani class sa inyo hang integration by parts calculus 2. Okay, so kung ato nang i-rewrite class, that will become x e to the negative x dx. Partial mo na, no? Pero pwede lang na, dili na ito i-partial kay both are functions of x. Okay? Equals, ang uv ni mo class is, kanira yung multiply sa, katong gikan sa gilet na to, kani siya u og v. Okay? So, multiply daw ang u og v. So, that is x multiplied negative e to the negative x. Okay. Minus integral of v du. Okay, karon ang v du ni mo class is, ang v ni mo is kani. Okay, v ni mo kani. And then du ni mo is kani. Okay, so it's very easy. Ang gibuhat mo sa integration by parts is as much as possible na ay matanggal dira nga function. Para ang sulod sa imong integral, isa na lang siya ka-function. Okay? So that will become negative e to the negative x. Ang du ni mo is dx. Okay, so if we simplify that, we can get negative x e to the negative x. Unya, ang negative niya times negative, may mo positive. Okay, tanawa sa klasa. Kini siya, may mo positive. Pero when you integrate this whole expression, mahimo man gyapon na siyang negative. So napa gyapon kay extra nga negative. Negative e to the negative x. Okay. Di lang sa tamang plus c diha kay again atong plus c dito na sa pinaka last. Okay, so karon na natay expression ani. Now this is the anti-differentiation or the integral of this expression niya. 8 times naman na to siya y class. So, ato na siyang okay. So we have f equals negative, ako na lang ni-arrange class ha, negative y e to the negative x. Okay? Minus y niya multiplied by this expression. You have negative x e to the negative x minus e to the negative x. Plus, di nga malimot palihog, plus some function of y. Ganun wala pa ko nag-plus dre ganina. Pwede mako plus dre class pero wa pa magutan na humanog integrate. Okay? Okay, after which ato na nang class isibog sa jud ko nino. Sibog sa on class. Okay, para natin enough space dira. So you have h of y. Okay, simplify class negative y e to the negative x minus y. Distribute na to ang y class. Pag distribute na to karon sa y, what will happen here? It will become positive. Plus y. Ako lang ang nag-rewrite ang x sa plus xy e to the negative x. Okay? Plus y gyapon okay. Minus minus man. Plus y e to the negative x plus h of y. Hala. Sige. Okay. Natay makancel diri class. Unsa tong makancel? Kini same term, different nga opposite ang iyahang sign. So, ang ato na expression for f here is just equal to xy e to the negative x plus some function of y. Okay. For m panahalay pa for n. I think easier ang n class. Okay? So we have the partial derivative of f with respect to y is equal to n. Sige, diretso na lang ta. N na to karon class is x e to the negative x. Actually, ganun easy siya. Kasi main ko, basta mag-integration by parts ka na ha. Dili, ganun man. Because partial derivative mo na with respect to y, meaning yung x is purely constant. So meaning this whole expression class is a constant. So muna yung giingon. If you don't know the concept behind partial differentiation, in this case, basta mag-integration by parts na madiretso. Okay, so in this case, constant man ang whole term nimo, unsa may buhaton nimo kung constant, parisan ra nimo siya og y. So that will become f is equal to x e to the negative x unya y. Ato lang nga na kaya i-arrange mo na to later. So na kay y dira plus some function of x ajud kalimot. Okay? So that means f di is if we rearrange the pag-write na to sa variables class, that is xy e to the negative x plus g of x. Okay niya. Sa'yo naman na kay answer class, no? So, tanawa class, pag mag-equate ta og f, sa'yo na kayo. Pwede din na lang ako isulat dire class. If we equate this one and this one, tanawa, they have same term niya h of y and then g of x. Meaning, wala kay function makita diri nga y. Wasa kay function makita diri nga purely x. Meaning, kaning duha kay 0, 0. Gati na pula na joke class. Wala na with space. So, kamo na equate na basta kay 0 ang yung h of y. Again, kay wala kay functions of y nga naa diri present o wala sad kay function of x nga naa diri present. So, we can write our general solution as xy e to the negative x ug unsay kulang plus c. Di mo kalimot plus c sa pinaka last. Okay, so this is now our general solution of our non-exact. Diba gamay raman day kayo. Okay, so ato ta karon class dire taas kini. Actually kini bitong first na kung example mas taas pa ni solution kaysa ani class. You try this, you solve this one. This is a non-exact differential equation. It tests on you for exactness and you will get an answer ngayon ani. And dili naman na siya di naman ito mapangitaan like explicit form. No? Okay. So that would be the end of our discussion. So who knows? Ang ano yung magawa sa exam. Matakabalo. Pero this is just to um, para makapractice mo. Okay, so that would be the end of my discussion for exact and non-exact. So prepare for a long quiz next meeting no, from the very beginning up to non-exact. Okay, so solve the class mo na solution. Mo na technique para makabalo ka or para ma-embed sa mong mind ang process. Okay, so that would be all and thank you for listening.